Hi, everyone. My name is Arjun, like Argentina without the Tina. I am the founder of Hello Wolfie, Smart Marketing for Underdogs. Now, the reason why we say smart marketing is because one of the things that we realized when we were talking to a lot of small businesses, we have about 15,000 members on our platform, 5,000 small businesses paying us. One of the things we realized is that when we're talking to small businesses, a lot of times they had no idea what generative meant or artificial intelligence meant. But they just wanted to make more money. They wanted to save time and they wanted to find more customers. And so we realized over probably thousands or tens of thousands of pitches and sending out a lot of emails that saying smart marketing, people understood, oh, it's smart and it's marketing. I get it. The second part, Underdogs, by the way, that's my real dog. He's a Maltese, a 6-pound Maltese back in New York. We realized that small businesses feel like underdogs. The coffee shop down the block, the nail salon down the block, the coach working from home, he or she feels like an underdog, a small business owner, when it comes to competing with the Starbucks of the world, the Great Clips of the world, or Tony Robbins of the world. And so it was very important that we resonated with our community of small businesses. In fact, we have about 7,000, just under 7,000 members in a Facebook group, which we're going to talk about later. But that Facebook group specifically allowed us to raise nearly $1.4 million, which means we generated $1.2 million in revenue, and we raised $1.4 million from our community, and we have about 3,000 investors. And that's because a lot of our customers, a lot of our community members said, okay, I'm going to spend some money here, use the product and build my business, but I'm also going to invest in the business. And they actually invested 3 times as much. And we'll talk about the metrics later. So why are we here? Well, obviously we're here to talk about AI and marketing, but believe it or not, over 4 years ago, at this point, probably 4.5 years ago, we started focusing on what we call autocomplete technology. We used to call it autocomplete technology because a lot of the famous email providers and other solutions that we use on a day-to-day basis back then, we call it autocomplete technology. And so we call it autocomplete AI. Today, obviously the buzzword is generative AI. And you can see on the top right, 2 patents have been issued to us. And they're not even pending. They've been issued to us. 1115356 and the second one being 984. Why did we file for it? Because we've been pretty good at basically figuring out what the trends are in marketing over the next few years. And you'll see a couple more trends that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But 4.5 years ago in 2019, we were like, okay, small businesses need more money. They want to make more money. They want to save time and they need more customers. How do they do that? They build a community. How do they build a community? They need great content. And so this slide really talks about our innovation, but you could totally use Jasper, OpenAI, ChatGPT in conjunction with our marketing platform. But just to highlight one of our early inventions that we made and pioneered. Now, unlike our competitors that you may have heard of, one of them has a mascot of an owl. The other one is a stack of cards. I'm not going to name them specifically, but one of them is a octopus as well. But they only focus on social media. Now, everyone is on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and TikTok, and social media is really important. But that's just a sliver of the marketing capabilities that the biggest companies in the world, the Fortune 500 companies, are using. So what do I mean by that? Typically, according to studies, and there are a lot of studies out there that will give you different stats, but typically a social media post will get you about 5 to 10% engagement rate. So if you've got 100 followers, you can expect 5 to 10 people will say, oh, that's a really good, cool post. I'm going to download that coupon and use it in the store. Or I'm going to click on this because there's a webinar the small business owner wants me to join. That's a really small sliver of the whole data set. So we said, why don't we actually help you automatically take the exact same post, either stretch it using AI or condense it using summarizing technology, and get out the door in newsletters and blogs and smart speakers eventually, and Google Web Stories and so on and so forth. A lot of our customers are real estate agents, and they still, till this day, they depend on direct mail, postcards, sending you the latest and greatest listings in your community. And so imagine being able to run a week-long campaign. Let's say, Jackson has a $3 million apartment he wants to sell on a Saturday. He's doing an open house. Well, on a Tuesday, Thursday, you can schedule 2 blog posts. Here are the top 3 listings that me as a realtor will be showing you this weekend. Check them out. Here are the links. Here are the MLS listings. On a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you could do a social media post with a video, maybe a tour of the property as well. And on Wednesday, you can schedule a direct post or a direct mail postcard to arrive in your mailbox on a Friday, which you have to bring to get a $500 discount on the listing price. Or I guess at that price point, it might be $5,000. And so on and so forth. So our vision was we want to help you build a community using artificial intelligence, but not just in one medium, but multiple mediums and multiple channels. So what is the total addressable market of what we're talking about? Well, typically our competitors will say, oh, it's a $25 billion market because they only focus on social media for the last 10 years or so. But we want to push you to think even bigger. We want to push you to think about content marketing for blogging, email marketing, smart speaker marketing, which we'll talk about and we'll show you a demo as well, Google Web Stories, and other mediums and channels that we haven't even talked about. So what is the traction to date? Well, we've done $1.2 million in sales, and we're very grateful for thousands of small businesses that use us every single day. The ARR of last year was about $500,000. Capital raise overall is about $1.8 million, and the LTV is about $300 to $500 depending on the time of year. And the average customer spends about $100 with us. And we have 5 issued patents in compliance, generative AI, and broadcasting, with additional patents filed and pending in augmented reality and contacts, which we'll talk about towards the end as well. But believe it or not, even though small businesses are spending with us about $100, upwards of $160 for the following year, they're also investing $315 for equity in our company. And we've done that through equity crowdfunding, where real people own shares or have a promise to shares in our company. So you have 2 products. We'll do a quick demo in a few seconds. One is obviously the community building platform, which we've been talking about, creating content, scheduling content, and posting it in multiple mediums and channels at the same time. And then we build a second platform for networking based on selfies. Now, what does that mean? So a few months ago, we realized as the pandemic was coming to a draw in New York and a bunch of places around the country we were traveling to and speaking at, we realized that we were so excited about meeting each other again in person that we were actually taking photographs and selfies and group photographs. But then we went home to the hotel room and we were like, I know that guy's name is Jay something. Was it Jeremy or Jackson? Or I don't remember what that person was, but he's very important. I wanted to follow up with him. Let me find his business card. And then you have 10,000 business cards with no faces to them. You have absolutely no idea what that person looked like. So we built a stupid little product called Self-Tag, Selfies for Contact, and realized that we could use a lot of artificial intelligence to help small businesses also build a personal Rolodex, a personal CRM. And so we'll show you the demo of that later on as well. The next thing to talk about is smart speaker broadcasting. Now, I'd love to see how many people here own an Alexa device, an Amazon Alexa device or a Google Home or some sort of smart speaker, just by raise of hands if I can. Okay, Jackson, I would probably say like half or at least.
Yeah, it looks about half.
Yeah. So guess what? We actually have a patent on the ability to broadcast to your customers' homes, living rooms, kitchens, with their permission and their opt-in, video, audio, and text content. So let's give you a quick demo of what that looks like. All right, so here's a quick demo of my old New York apartment where all I'm going to do is ask Alexa, I don't know if there are any devices here, to open the Hello Woofy app and skill. Now imagine saying the AI user group, and then all of a sudden you can, Jackson can have all his videos or highlights, the reels scheduled there as well, and you can have a link to the meetup group so you guys can sign up. So let's give you a quick example of what that looks like. Founder and CEO at Hello Woofy, direct Alexa smart speakers as well. So let's go ahead and give you a quick example. Again, you can do this for the price of a cup of coffee. You just get. So those apps are obviously multi-billion-dollar companies, right? But how do you get a piece of that? That's what we're going to talk about. Schedule video, audio, and text to audio content. Alexa, open the Hello Woofy skill.
Your briefings from creators at hellowoofy.com. You can play your briefings by saying, play all.
Hey, so that is, they call it the briefing. You could call it the social media post. It's the exact same thing that I posted on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you name it in one click. We also posted to, in this case, my living room. Now, what you'll notice is it has pretty much the same elements. It has a video, it has a preview, it has a link here, which is on my thermostat, going over it, and then of course the content itself. And of course, the small business name is up there, and the small business logo is on the right. Now, what I'm going to show you now, in the interest of time and skipping it along a little bit, is me actually clicking on that link and going to the website. Lead it, but let's go ahead and go to the Play All button, and then we're going to click on the Hello Woofy button. Every smart speaker has web browsers built in. This one happens to be using Amazon Silk. You can also use. So imagine receiving a quick highlight of today's conference, and Jackson could be like, well, if you want more, sign up for the next event, click on the link below, and takes you directly to the smart speaker. Now, this one happens to be connected to my TV. There are smart speakers of different sizes. Everyone knows about that. So let's give you an example of what it looks like to actually be inside Hello Woofy and use the product. So let's go ahead and say, so first off, we want to keep everything very simple. You'll notice there's a lot of white space, there's a lot of color. We want to keep things very, very easy to use. So let's go ahead and show you an example of creating a piece of content. So let's see. Here we go. Okay. So if I start typing a post, it'll start auto-completing the content with me. Now, I can totally ignore the recommendations. It seems very trivial, but on the back end, there are thousands of permutations that are being recommended depending on what I'm typing. And let's say, of course, my copy, which I made earlier today. Now, on the bottom, you're going to start noticing that it's giving you just a handful of emojis. Now, this is really important because emojis have been shown to drive significant uplift in engagement and purchase intent. Don't take my word for it. Take this multi-billion-dollar company's word for it. So if you take a look at this research that came out a couple of years ago, and then they did a follow-up paper as well, 58% uplift in engagement, 64% in purchase intent. We were like, holy moly, we need to do something about the recommendations. So what did we do? We mapped every single word in the dictionary with the hashtags, with the emoji possibilities, and we literally built a web map. This is called a complex network graph. Each node represents potential, and the edges are based on like how important it is for that recommendation to be given to the customer. So, and you guys can play around with this, woofy.ai. But the idea is that we baked that into a platform because the small business owner didn't have to know any of the AI capabilities. Again, AI and data science doesn't really mean anything to anyone unless it makes them more money, more customers, and saves them time. Now, next thing is, let's say we want to use a link. So this link happens to be the same article. And let's say we want to use a quote because it automatically finds a quote for me. So let's say we want to use this quote here. Great. We want to use these hashtags here. Great. Now I have my own hashtags as well, which I can pre-upload ahead of time. So I'm going to use this one here. And since I know images are really important, I'm going to click on the little orange dot and find an image from the article. So it already knows that there's a URL there. So it's going to find it for me. And I can go ahead and crop the image as well because I know better. Instagram only wants 5 to 4 images, 4 to 5, or 1 to 1. These are ratios. And I'm going to click cropped, click save. Now, the other cool thing is also we can transcribe the image. So if I click on the T icon, in this case, it doesn't really make sense to do so because it's a screenshot of a phone. But if it had a quote, a description, an ad or something, all of these transcriptions down here below could be added directly into the caption itself. Or we're going to click on cancel instead. And then if we choose which category we want to post to or add to, let's say we want to put it in blog posts and click add to library, and we're on our way. Now, the percentages you see in the library, so this is our library. This is our I guess, system where we put all our content by categories. All of these similarities you see here represent how similar is this post to something else you posted in the last 30 days. Only because we only built this, by the way, and we have 2 patents around the compliance engine, is to make sure that you're not breaking any rules with the terms and conditions of any of the marketing platforms, specifically Twitter. Twitter doesn't like similar or duplicated content, or as is known as X today. And a bunch of other platforms have terms and conditions as well. So what are we talking about? The first patent that we were issued was around generative AI, creating autocomplete technology. And the second one, which I just mentioned, is around compliance as well. The ability, you guys can take a look at this if you're really into the patents themselves, around compliance and similarity determination system. Because we wanted to make sure that you're not getting in trouble. And as the platforms make more changes, as OpenAI comes up with more policies for privacy and data privacy, this engine and the similarity engine will constantly be updated so that you don't make any changes, you make any mistakes, at least unknowingly. In the calendar in the platform, you'll see color. Green to yellow to red indicates how busy your days and weeks are getting, so that you're always aware, okay, I might want to put less content here because I'm in the red. I might want to put more content here because I have nothing there, or maybe more content here because I only have green. It's an easier way to see a heat map of what's going on. And remember when I said one of the things that we want to focus on is getting your content across the internet in multiple channels and mediums is journal. Journal actually goes into the world of blogging and newsletter writing. So what does that mean? As opposed to the other caption editor that you saw earlier, this one's a rich text editor. You can put in images, videos, you can underline text, italicize, bold them as well. But the point is, this section here, again, this is a universal platform. So how do you build this into a journal and newsletter scheduling platform? This section here becomes a title of your blog, becomes the email subject line of your newsletter. This, of course, becomes a body text for both. And then this image here on the right side is added to the top of the body below the title itself. Or when you open up the email and your customer receives it, it'll be below the email subject line. So it's as easy as clicking upload, choosing your blog, let's say Medium, choosing your audience, let's say the master list. And if I hit post right now, we'll skip the social media part. If I hit post right now, after I've created my content using the artificial intelligence, thousands of small businesses will get my email in their inbox, plus my blog will get updated. And if I checked off social media, so all my social media platforms will get updated as well. All right. Next thing we'll talk about is the augmented reality side. So one of the things that we realize is most of our customers, so I haven't said it already before, are women entrepreneurs working from home. And so what that means is they're working from home and they're running agencies, coaching businesses, podcasting businesses. A lot of them are real estate agents as well. We realize that they need to come across bigger, meaner, and more capable than their competitors that have tens of millions of dollars behind them in terms of resources. So I'll show a quick example of a augmented reality platform that we built. And this is fully built and we should be shipping it pretty soon. Let me go ahead and show here we go. Okay. So what you're seeing is essentially my library of marketing content. So the library that you saw earlier that we're showing you similarity scores, this is the same exact library, but now it's in augmented reality and you can see all the content that I have stored in my categories to be used repeatedly, because a lot of this is evergreen content. So what does it mean for an agency owner? Well, me as an agency owner, I can send you one link as a client. Let's say Jackson's my client and he hired me to do all the AI user group content. Well, I can say, hey, Jackson, come on in. We'll do a non-boring Zoom call with you, because you can have an audio talk through the phone. We have a mobile app. You can talk through the phone and I can actually show you exactly what you paid me for in terms of the content that's ready to be scheduled. And then on the right side, and he can join in, he'll see a virtual version of my phone and I'll see a virtual version of his phone. On the right side, I'm going to switch to my calendar and show you the monthly view. So what you're now seeing is, is actually the representation of Jackson's last few days and few weeks worth of content. If I could zoom in a little bit, I'll actually be able to see exactly what was scheduled and posted on August 5th and August 9th or whatnot. So imagine being able to storyboard like Mad Men. If you remember the TV show, this is your virtual AR, non-Vision OS needed, no goggles needed, just your phone version of what's actually happening and why that agency is being paid to keep up with your marketing and whatnot. So let's say, I know, Jackson, you love pasta. So let's say we want pasta to be scheduled first, and then you want my crazy video here of me being super happy scheduled second. So now Jackson can say, you know what? No, I'm actually going to move this over here and put it behind you. Or maybe I want this to be posted first and whatnot. But look at it. Go ahead. So this post now can be dragged over to this virtual timeline. Again, it's the storyboarding, right? So you see how there are white flags on the edges of the post? As soon as they turn green, that means I'm in the future. I can let go and Jackson go, no, not the 21st. I want it on the 23rd or the 24th. I'm going to let go there and say, okay, Jackson, is this good? And he's going to say, yep, this is great. This is exactly where I want it. And I want to post it on my Instagram. So I'm going to post it to my story, and the time is great. The location is great. And I'm going to go ahead and click on schedule. And go ahead and schedule right there. All right, click schedule. And there we go. there's a schedule and you saw that rocket go up and the 24th post is ready to go. So now imagine being able to have meetings or just creative collaborations with people in a very visual way, and you don't need to spend $5,000 for pair of goggles just to see it on reality. One of the things I'm going to also play here are two videos. One is on Mark Cuban. If you don't believe me in terms of speaker marketing and it being a big deal, take a look at what Mark Cuban had to say just about 2 years ago. And if anyone knows Mark Cuban, I've met him once before, but I'd love to meet him because of this video.
Tech background. I teach myself to do Amazon Alexa and Google Home skills. A lot of people have Amazon Alexa in particular, and they know how to use it generically, but they don't know how customizable it is. So I would, just like I did back in the days when I started Micro Solutions, and I went to all these different retail stores, handing out my business cards saying, if you ever have questions or need help with PCs and computer, I'm your guy. I would do the same thing now. And particularly now with the pandemic, where we're trying to go touch-free, the ability to use ambient voice to really help your business, nobody's really doing it very well. So I would be all about that. And I think I'd be able to build up a nice little business doing it.
And that's Mark Cuban talking about that. I'll show a quick example of self-tech as well. The application we were talking about earlier. Again, it's based on simple selfies, right? It's based on simple selfies. You meet someone, you take a quick selfie with them, and that photograph turns into, photographs like this, turns into photographs like this. You take notes, you get their contact information, you take their phone number and whatnot, and use templates and eventually generative AI to reach out to them. So for example, if I want to email James Jameson, I have a template here, knows we met in San Francisco. I can go ahead and click on that. There's all my contact information, my Calendly, my LinkedIn, the selfie, and the business card actually has a selfie attached. Now, when James, or in this case Cyril, downloads the business card, every time I call him will be our crazy selfie in there of how happy he and I were. And he's probably going to buy something from me because people buy from people, and if they have no idea what you look like or where you met them or whatnot, they're never going to come back to you. This is nothing new. One of the things that we realize is we're all visual creatures, and this has actually been happening for a very long time. You guys can download the app. It's called Self-Tech on selftech.com. It's free to download. And this has been happening for hundreds of years. People that wanted to stay in touch with other people, as the royals in this case, they wanted to take their photographs, but they couldn't. They had to draw them or paint them. They took notes, and that's how they stayed in touch. Rockefeller, if you want to be like Rockefeller, I'm not saying this is going to actually make you a Rockefeller, but guess what he used to do? I'm going to play in the last video, and then we'll take Q&A.
One of the first billionaires, David Rockefeller, used this secret to build the biggest network of all time. Rockefeller's massive Rolodex held over 100,000 individual contacts that he used to grow one of the largest generational fortunes the world's ever seen. And after his death at the age of 101 years old, the Wall Street Journal was able to sneak a peek at the greatest contact list of all time. And what they found was shocking. Rockefeller didn't just keep contact information on his associates. Instead, he used a human psychology hack to make people believe he was an incredibly caring man. Knowing that people love to talk about themselves, Rockefeller would take notes on any meaningful detail from every interaction he had with people. Things like the names of their children, the family's health, or the achievements they...
You guys can watch the whole video on TikTok. But that's the power of artificial intelligence, but also empathy, having an EQ-driven approach to marketing and sales. I've been building startups and small businesses since I was a teenager. This is my fourth company, raised a few million, and I know firsthand the BS and the effed up things we go through to build small businesses. And so we want to help them originally make it mobile, easy to use, eventually smart with AI capabilities, and that's where it came from. And again, thank God, a lot of our small businesses invested. This is how much we raised. Hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars at a time on WeFunder. This is how much we raised in 2 campaigns on Republic. And so we're very fortunate that, again, automating our own Facebook group using Hello Woofy, we were able to make a lot of money and also raise a lot of money. We realized that, again, artificial intelligence and data science, most small businesses don't really care about it. Most small businesses don't even have an education to really go into the patents, for example, and understand it. They just want to make more money and have more customers. So we realized that if we were going to be pitching, for example, investors, we can be really talking to investors at a technical level for the most part. We have to make something really easy to understand, like this complex network graph. People understand that there's a relationship between this node here and this emoji here because of this central node here, which is related to coffee or whatnot. That we just started making things very visual, and you can see that in the product. Things are very visual, things are very mobile driven, and we know we're going to lose you if we don't make it like that. And so that's where all the smart capabilities came in, with a layer of color and shapes and figures and all that. We actually are working on group selfies as well. That should be out in a few weeks, where it actually detects faces. It's facial detection, not recognition. So there's a major difference between the two. So we will make it a. You say Wi-Fi? Yeah, we'll make it a we too. And then of course you can start group threads or individual threads as well. You can see the location where you met the person. We're working on the ability to also scan. So if one person takes a selfie or Wi-Fi, I feel like that sounds like Wi-Fi, but that's okay. You can just scan the other Celtech user's phone, and there's a layer on top of it which only a Celtech app can actually can detect, and automatically get introduced to each other. And then we're also working on a network. So kind of like a Venmo meets LinkedIn kind of an approach, where you could actually start discovering amazing people that are meeting each other, small business owners, and network with them and connect with them.